Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back to the channel. The Pokemon VGC season is just around the corner and we're due to start the first tournament of the season next weekend with the Grand Challenge 1. So essentially these are online tournaments where you play best of one with a closed team sheet. So they're very tricky tournaments to play, but they're great in terms of accessibility because you can play them from the comfort of your home. And yeah, they're essentially just closed team sheet, best of one games throughout a weekend long tournament. And as you can see here, it starts from the registration stops from the midnight of the 4th of September, so you can play it from the 5th to the 7th. So it's a weekend long. You essentially get 15 games across each day of the weekend, so you get 45 games in total, and you can choose to play these 45 games all on the Sunday if you wish. So for every day that passes, you get an additional 15 games. And you start off on a 1500 elo, and that elo goes up and down whether you win or lose. Obviously, if you get paired against someone that's got a higher elo than you get a bonus points added to your elo, and if you lose to someone lower than you get a multiplier deduction as well. So it's really important to try and manage your elo expectations. I'll do another video next week to sort of highlight how you should sort of prep for these tournaments and to set a bar as well, because there's some going to be some sort of bars you want to aim for if you want to get top 64, if you want to get top 500 to get CP. So speaking of CP, the prizes for this tournament are as follows. So if you, I believe, play 2 or 3 games, you get these prizes here, which essentially are league points in game, a bottle cap and a ability patch, sorry, a golden bottle cap and an ability patch. So these are really good resources in game to try and get your team up to speed for the next tournament. But you can also earn championship points as well, which I believe are included here. So these are from the 2025 season. I can't remember if they were changed, but I couldn't find them for the new season. But we'll use this as a benchmark. So essentially, what's changed from last season is now Grand Challenges and Global Challenges now provide you separate points per rating zone. Essentially what that means is you will play players from across the world. However, when the results are defined at the end of the tournament, they will be separated per rating zone. So let's say you play 10 games and you win 7, lose 3. Whatever your score is, you'll be compared next to players from your rating zone, which will be Europe, and you'll be granted a position in Europe, even though you play players from all over the world. So for the Grand Challenges, only players from the Pokemon Company International areas, so US, Australia, Europe, will be competing in these tournaments, but the Global Challenges, we get the Asian regions included as well. So for now, we're just going to focus on the Global Challenge, so the Grand Challenges. And yeah, so it's quite a great way to get your season off the ground outside of locals. I know locals will be starting as well next weekend at the same time. So this here is a way to say, look, you can earn championship points across the whole season. They will be scheduled, I believe, every month except for one. And May, I think they run from September to April, bar 1 month, I believe. But essentially you get a best of limit finish for 3. So if you play 3 tournaments, sorry, if you play 5 tournaments and you get 3 top 32s and 2 top 128s, your best 3 finishes will only be counted here. So they're a great way to get championship points if you're looking to get started in Pokemon without spending money to go to events. So if this is a real good way to sort of try and get a Worlds invite and to try and become a top player in your region if that's a goal that you have. But yeah, this is starting from the 5th to the 7th, so you can play your games at any time throughout the day. Just note that you are capped 15 games per day, and they also do carry it over. So if you don't play any games on a Friday, you can play 30 games on a Saturday, or if you don't play any games at all Friday, Saturday, you can play 45 games on a Sunday. I don't recommend that because that is a lot of amount of games. I do like to spread my games across the weekend. People always do. Here's a little tip for you. People always say you should save your games for Sunday because you're likely to play players that have a higher rating than you. Therefore, you get more of a multiplier when you win against players that have a slightly higher rating than you. so you can sort of jump up the leaderboard quicker. Whether this is true or not, I believe it is true, but again, if you haven't got that time on a Sunday, and you just want to get off to an early start, then work around your schedule. That's the beauty of these tournaments. You get to play them on your terms. So don't listen to the outside noise. Focus on what your schedule looks like and try and get your games in accordingly. So you're probably thinking, so closed team sheet, best of one, how does this work? Well, looking at some past data here, there's some teams that are, some players that have done one in the past, and we're going to look at some teams here from the VGC Pace repository, which is a fantastic resource to get teams from any format. As you can see at the bottom of the tab here, we got Regulation G, Regulation I, Regulation H, F, and you can simply just search for Grand Challenge and it'll bring you players' teams that have won or done very well in these tournaments, and you can see their EVs if there's ticked here, as well as their Pokebastes. So again, I'm going to link this. I'm going to let you guys sort of filter through. I'm not going to go through loads of teams here because I think where we are Regulation H, because it's a format that we've played before, people kind of understand what's good, what's not good. It's all about sort of mixing up your sets. Another tip for the Grand Challenge is try and play something a bit more off the beaten path. Try and play something a bit more unpredictable, because in closed team sheet, people are, especially inexperienced players, are going to get very confused if you start clicking moves and switching up your plays and having terror types that they don't expect for, and it can really throw their game plans as well. So it's really good to be unpredictable in these tournaments, but that's not to say you can do well in these tournaments by not playing standard stuff. Here I got an example by Torviv, a Spanish player, really good player. Literally last season played his team, I believe it was from, he got Gdansk top 8, and then he got second at the Grand Challenge as well. So he played this very standard team. As you can see here, this team is as standard as it gets. Terra Dark, Black Glasses, King Gambit, a Terra Fairy Volcarona, Fake Out Coaching Terraco Sneasler. This team looks extremely standard. Not to say it's not a good team. I think it's a fantastic team, a really good team to get started in the format. And then he goes and pilots it very efficiently to a second place finish at a Grand Challenge. So on the flip side, if you're preparing for Stuttgart Regional or Monterrey Regional in a couple of weeks, and you just want to get some practice with your best of 3 team, you can absolutely lock it in for the Grand Challenge and still get results if you pilot it well. The only risk to doing that is that people might know the sets because it's more of a common team. So if you're playing the Grand Challenge, you can have access to your mobile, you can have access to the internet. You can simply just go on resources like this, find the team, look at the spreads, look at the moves, the terror types, and you can have an edge potentially if you use standard teams. So there's always the risk of comfort over unpredictability for these tournaments, but manage it how you want. I've had relative success playing standard teams, and I've had relative success playing unpredictable teams as well. So it's all about player preference and what you want to achieve from the tournament, as well as what you think is good for your playstyle and for your practice as well. So yeah, getting into sort of teams here, we have another fantastic resource, which is Liberty Note, and they essentially log every single team from Battle Stadium. So this is a really interesting resource because we get to see what players from the Japanese regions and Asian regions are playing for their best of 1 ladders, because they take the ladder very seriously, a lot more serious than the European players and players from the West. And not all of these teams have this icon here, which is a blog, but you can kind of get the rough idea of what they're trying to do. But any teams that you see here, and they'll have like every single month of the battle ladder on here. So I'll leave a link to all these resources in the description. And then if you want to go through and have a little play around, you can find teams that are really interesting from every single month that Regulation H was legal in the past. Let's say for this one, for example, you can bring it up. There's a blog here. You can translate to English. It's, as you can probably expect, when translated from Japanese to English, you do get some sort of wording errors and mismatch of wording. So we should try and just judge it as best you can. But essentially, here you have a very comprehensive guide on how to play this person's team from the Asian region, and it's not very often you get resources like this that include such detailed reports and blogs, including terror types, EVs, and leads and game plans into other teams as well. So yeah, really great resource, and I recommend you sort of going through this and maybe potentially finding something that you really like and you want to play as well. So yeah, here's just some really good resource that you can use. And like I said, I'd have a little look through the VGC repository and see what you think is suitable for you, whether you want to either get up to date of see what people are playing, or you want to take a team for yourself and practice it and play it yourself. So in general, that's all I'm going to cover for today's video. I just wanted to make sure you guys are aware of the Grand Challenge and how to prepare for it. I will do a weekly meta review video next week, another one to sort of pinpoint some specific teams that could be good and to keep an eye out for, as well as some trends as well as some limitless tournaments. So if you guys do want to play on the limitless, or you want to play some best of 3 practice, check out the description. I host my own tournaments. I have a Discord that's growing, and we're looking to host more tournaments. And hopefully you guys can take part and be part of the amazing community that is the Pokemon VGC. So that's it for today's episode, guys. I'll leave all the resources in the description. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you next week for next week's video. Peace.